Welcome back. Now, South Africa seems to be making steady but uneven progress towards gender equity in corporate boardrooms. This according to the 2024 Spencer Stuart South Africa Board Index, which analyzes board composition, committees, director remuneration, and other aspects of board governance among the top 50 companies listed on the JSE. Mpho Seboni, board and CEO consultant at Spencer Stuart, joins us now for greater detail. Thank you so much for your time, Mpho. Now, before we get into the detail of the diversity and the trends that we are seeing in the composition of boards in listed companies, I firstly want you to please talk to us about the expectations that are placed on boards when it comes to their functionality and use case. Has that remained consistent?
If anything, thank you for having us, Zinati. If anything, it has become more complex as boards are expected to have in their purview a wider range of events, initiatives, challenges, risks, not only in the country that they operate in, but in markets that sometimes are very far from those that you'd normally think were in their purview.
Yes. So would you say, with that, what we're seeing right now are shifting dynamics in the socio-political landscape, but also in, the economic dynamics of the world. Would you say that then that should also inform how boards actually lead the companies that they serve?
Absolutely. I would start off by saying it should inform how the boards are composed.
Okay.
Right? And that composition, in terms of skills, diversity, diversity and its richness, which is skills, ethnicity, gender, age, and the like, right? That diversity will enable the board to lead the company more effectively.
Okay, that's actually a very, very interesting point, that it should inform how they are composed. So let's actually get into the detail. What trends then are shaping the makeup of composition of boards in South Africa's listed space?
A couple of things stand out, and this is both taking a 10-year perspective on the work that we did in our index in 2023.
Yes.
Sorry, 2013 up to 2024.
Yes.
Right? What we are seeing is a rise in all forms of diversity. In let's take gender, for example. 37% of all the directors in the top 50 on the JSE are women.
Okay.
Right? Just above a third.
Yeah.
That's not very far off the 35% it was last year.
Okay.
Right? So the boards are making gradual shifts in at least gender diversity.
And with that, Mpho, because obviously now boards are in South Africa are meant to then align with the global standard. You talk about female representation being almost 40%. At least there has been an uptick from the previous year, but not a lot. And I'm just wondering then, do we align with what we are seeing globally?
There are some countries that are ahead of us.
Okay.
Right? In Europe, let me just stay for a second in Europe.
Yes.
In France, 95%, so the vast majority of boards have at least 40% women. Right? We are just below that. But on this same measure, we compare very well with other countries in Europe where, for example, in Switzerland, it's 35, Japan, it's 3, okay, that's not in Europe, and the USA is 25%. So we are ahead of some and behind others. And in many instances, it's because of the gender quotas that are set up by these countries, including South Africa. And boards recognize that in time, these quotas actually are an advantage, or they help them to move faster than they normally would.
Okay. And also you talk about how we've risen in all levels of diversity, including age. And I'm wondering then, in terms of how long board members actually stay in those seats, has anything changed or shifted there? Because I do understand that maybe younger people would not necessarily stay on boards or in those positions as long as older people would have. Are we seeing any kind of divergences, disparities, any shifts in that space?
Yes, yes. And also there are nuances, but the age of South African directors has continued to rise over the year. The average is just about 60 years, right? But within that, there are some nuances, as I said.
Yeah.
For example, women directors are younger or have a younger average age. That's 58, whereas men, it's just over 62. So there are some differences in the age profile.
Yeah.
And the advantage, really, of having the quote-unquote right age profile for your board and your industry, in your company, is that it gives you access to the demographic trends at the upper end and at the lower end.
All right.
And that informs or helps to inform better decision making.
All right. With all this diversity then that we are seeing, this increase in diversity from all angles, are boards then committed to uniting all the voices? Are there mechanisms that they are implementing to make sure that all the voices are heard and that they actually lead to productivity in how they lead?
That is actually the critical skill, or one of the most critical skills, of the board leader, the chairman.
Okay. All right.
To ensure, and this is both the chairman of the board and the chairs of the chairpersons of the board and of the subcommittees. The skill is being able to get the voices in the room onto the table in a way that facilitates better decision making, so that certain voices aren't obstructed or don't obstruct themselves, quite frankly, and come to the fore at the right time. It's possible that if you have one dominant demographic, whether it's age, gender, or ethnicity, or professional background, the minority may not feel heard. And so two things need to happen. A, the leader of the meeting needs to ensure and bring out these voices. But secondly, the board needs to bring on board members who are comfortable in articulating their points of view, even if they're the minority, in a way, of course, that is constructive. And so both sides need to be, quote unquote, constructive.
And basically the leader does need to be the gel there. Just lastly, as we wrap up the conversation, I mean, remuneration is often one of the things talked about, sometimes quite controversial. What are then the common tools of remuneration for listed company board members in South Africa?
10 years ago, very fewer companies had the retainer, let's call it the board fee, the annual board fee, as the sole mechanism of rewarding. They had a board fee and then a per meeting fee, an attendance fee.
Okay.
You can imagine that is not always going to stimulate the best behaviors. So what boards now do, the vast majority of South African boards, and I'd say 93, 94%, pay a retainer for, whether it's for the board chair or for board members.
All right.
And that then encompasses all other what used to be, board attendance fees and the like. It's the retainer that is the dominant form of remuneration.
All right. Well, we do have to wrap up the conversation there, Mpho, but thank you so much for that very, very insightful conversation. Really appreciate your time. That was Mpho Seboni, Board and CEO Consultant at Spencer Stuart.